look back on what you hope will happen in 2021, let's say this is Fitur 2022, and I'm asking you, what was last summer like? In your, I know there can be problems, but what do you want to happen for summer 2021 for Spanish tourism?
But I think summer 2021, it has to be the beginning of the end of the pandemic and its effect on tourism. So sure, it's the beginning of the recovery of international tourism, because last year we did have already national tourism. That was the only thing in 2020 that Spain could provide their sector, their services, national tourists. But 2021 has to be the restart of international tourism. And I think we are very close to make that happen, because not only we have put in place different protocols, we have been very, very cautious to provide a meaning of safe destinations everywhere. Spain has done great efforts to provide international tourists a sense of safe destination, but because especially of vaccination. I think vaccinations have changed everything. It has in Ireland, but also in Spain. We have been seeing that it was going to be different, but now we are realizing that vaccination, it is providing us with the proper way to control the virus, and this is the key element to open again our country to international visitors.
For your targets to work, and your targets look very ambitious, what needs to happen? Because you're not just dealing with Spain's health measures, you're dealing with the health measures in all of your source markets.
So, in this case, I have to put or give value to what's going to happen in June between member states of the European Union. The digital certificate is going to provide us not only with a tool, it's going to give us certainty. What we didn't have last summer, this summer we do have, which is certainty. We are going to provide tourists that from the moment that we publicly say that we are going to be able to receive tourists with this digital certificate, from that very same moment we won't change our policy. I mean, if an Irish tourist is trying to book a holiday in the Canary Islands or in Benidorm or wherever, he is going to be able to do it, and I have to guarantee him that from that very same moment nothing is going to change that decision, because green certificate is going to be an individual measure. Before we were working on national risk, regional risk. Now we know, since we have vaccination, that you do have a proper certificate that tell us that eitherwise you've been vaccinated, you've been tested negative, or you have been recuperated from the virus. And this is essential, not only, as you mentioned, to guarantee tourists a safe experience in Spain, but also to keep protecting Spanish populations from incoming visitors, because we know that now we can control and provide safety to that mobility.
If vaccination it runs into problems with the pace of vaccination, that will mean that the green certificate will run into a problem with delivery as well. Is that something you're prepared to live with, or is it something that you, as a nation very enthusiastic about tourism, you would keep a testing regime or something for people who are not vaccinated?
Now we are working, as you mentioned, with the rollout of vaccination. So that is our plan A. It is true that we need to have Plan B, and in this Plan B, what I've been saying from my responsibilities is that Spain cannot have another summer like the one we had in 2020. I mean, not only because we are a country very dependent on tourism, that we are, and we are very proud to make the tourism sector a pillar of our economic sector, but also because tourism is part of our gen. I mean, Spaniards, we are very open, you know us, we love to exchange views, experiences. We love to be on permanent contact with others. So we will be dealing if this happens. I mean, if we need to reach to a point of that, the path of vaccination, not in Spain but in other countries that they are important to us in terms of international visitors, we will be dealing with an alternative. If not vaccination, we will be seeing how can we cope with the recuperation of the tourism. But I have to say that I'm very confident on how things are moving on. I mean, I'm very confident after the effort first that we have done inside Spain. I mean, great efforts after great restrictions, and we are reaching to this point with some certainty that we are having under control the pandemic. Second, to European, our colleagues from the European Union, I think that the rollout of the vaccination plans and all the protocols that we have put in place have been coordinated, and this is very important, and because it gives us again certainty and stability between countries in terms of maintaining our flows of tourists. And third, with third countries that they're very important with us, and that we know they're doing great in terms of the rollout of vaccination. That is the case of the United Kingdom or the United States or other countries which are important for us, and we hope to restart very soon the mobility with them.
Children, the family market, it's unlikely, or there's a big ethical question about children in Europe being vaccinated while other parts of the world are waiting. Is it something that you see happening, that once the vulnerable older people are vaccinated, that travel can reopen, and that it will not have to be every member of every family?
No, we expect all members of the family come to Spain, because not only adults, but what we are expecting is that children less than 6 years, we are not going to be asking nor test nor vaccination certificate. We believe, not because we believe it superficially, but because we do have scientific basis to do so, that they don't need to assure that part if their parents have been already vaccinated or have a negative test. And children above 6 years and until, depending on the country, if they receive the jab or not, they'll need a test, a negative test. But that's something that we need to cope with. I mean, we've been through hell. We've been through a world pandemic, and everyone has to adapt to this new situation. So I have to say that all families, all members could come, and we do have a proper alternative to each one of those members.
So it's not just a Spanish issue, but people who have not yet got the vaccine, the test that you already require will still be required.
Yeah. Well, it depends. It depends on the situation. I mean, we need, if they come with a vaccination certificate, it won't require PCR, that it's clear.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are vaccinated with a complete vaccination cycle, that's clear that we are not be needing any additional test. But not only that, I mean, if the country, in terms of epidemiology, it is considered secure. I mean, right now in the European Union we have different risk ranks in terms of accumulated incidence and positive rate. If the country it is on that scheme, we won't be asking anything. And when I say anything is anything, we won't be asking nor certificate of vaccination, nor test, nor recuperation test. And this is not only us in Spain. I think we are trying to coordinate among all member states this kind of condition. So if someone from Ireland, he wants to come to Spain, and Ireland is right now, I think this is going to be changing, because we are trying to push it with other member states, but it is under 25, we won't be asking anything, because we believe that there is no risk in that flow, in that touristic flow.
The more complicated end of what you have to deal with this summer is opening Spain, and there will be differences from region to region. There may be rebounds of the virus in region to region. You say you've a plan to manage the people arriving, but presumably the plan to manage what will be open and what the expectation of the visitor is a lot more complicated than the Green Digital Certificate.
Well, I have to make some reservation about that statement, because I believe that, again, since I was saying before, we are not at the same point that we were last summer. I mean, last summer, it is true that we have peaks and downs. The pandemic when different evolved from a different point of view in different regions. I have to say that now we are at a different scale, since all regions in Spain have been evolving in this rollout vaccination program at the same path. We have not only islands, but we have Andalusia, Madrid, Aragon, Asturias. We are probably close to 40% of our population immunized, 35%, if not more, today with at least one dose. And by the beginning of June, we will be having 10 million people, adults, in Spain with the complete cycle of vaccination. So I have to say that we have to be cautious. Don't take me wrong. I always say that if something has taught us the pandemic is to be extra careful and extra cautious. But I have to say that as I'm talking with my colleagues from the Ministry of Health, and as things are moving on, I don't fear that we are going to have these differences, these spikes, and this loss of control of the pandemic on different regions. And if we do, it would be very, very concentrated, and we will put immediately resources to try to tackle it. So for me, green certificate, I have to say, it is not the magic wand. I have to say that having in place the green certificate, it won't solve everything. It won't give us certainty, it won't give us now full recognition and full control of risk. No, it is something that we are putting in place to complete a wide portfolio of measures to help us restore mobility and tourism.
Is the consumer ready, and is Spain very high on the list of the wish list of Northern European countries that are your main markets? Have you been picking that up from the marketplace?
Yeah, we are. Actually, I've been working with my team today with different figures. Spain is increasing its reservations at this very same day. If we take into consideration 2020, it is true that 2020 at this time we're still in confinement, but the increase of reservation now amounts to 125 from northern Europe. And Spain, again, if we take into consideration the different waves from different surveys all over Europe, still remains the first destination in Europe. And right now, Portugal is in an excellent epidemiological situation, but Spain and Portugal, they sum up about 60-70% of all hotel reservations that we are seeing in the market.
And will the hotels be ready? Because a lot of hotels had to close and let staff go. And are they ready for the rebound?
Well, they didn't have to let go many workers, because I think not only Spain but other countries have done great efforts to try to maintain their labor force related with tourism sector. So first I have to say that we are ready because we have the human capital and we still have all our industrial capabilities in terms of tourism sector, and we have all the protocols, we have all the measures. I mean, tourism in 2021 is going to be an experience that we are going to provide more quality, we are going to provide more security and protection, we are going to maintain some of the measures to give us confidence that all tourists have to feel confident with the experience. If we take a look with our summer campaign, if you take a look to our summer campaign, We Deserve Spain, it is based on the sense that not only we've passed through this horrible pandemic, but when you're thinking how to restore normality, how can we face those lovely times that we spend when we go on holidays with our families, with our colleagues, we have those excellent times. When you put yourself on those situations, we want to take all tourists that Spain provides you, that kind of feeling. And we are going to do it with all guarantees. And Fitur is a perfect example of how things can be done. I mean, it is true, Fitur 2021 is not the Fitur that we have other years. Is less. We have less people, bigger halls, open spaces, but still we do have Fitur. So we need to think that safe tourism is possible.
And my last question, I'm sorry, I've overrun my time, and it will be very different tourism. What will Spain be offering the post-COVID tour world? Because the requirement and the demand of the tourist could be quite different from some of the things that you did very well in the past.
Well, if something has taught us these months of pandemic, is that we need to think in post-pandemic tourism. And not only in terms of safety measures or protection, but we really need to think, and we've done our homework for the last month, we really need to think about tourism in the next 25 years. And Spain is going to make a huge investment to adapt and transform its touristic sector to three main pillars. First, sustainability. The tourism of the future has to be a sustainable tourism. And not only in terms of environmental sustainability, which is quite important. We do have to face challenges in some our main destination on some sea in terms of environmental sustainability, but also in terms of social sustainability. I mean, every year we understand more and more that tourists want to be part of the community. They want to feel comfortable. They want to feel that their experience really goes to the people that live in those communities. And third, territorial sustainability, because we believe that Spain has the chance to provide a wide range of experiences. We have the chance to provide a very diversified offer, not only sun and sea, but we do have a huge amount of heritage, of historical heritage. We do have incredible destinations of terms of gastronomy. We want to provide people with natural resources. We want to provide people with sightseeing. We want to provide with cycling. So this is also very important. The second idea of that future in tourism has to be digitization. I mean, our sector, not only the tourists, which is hyper connected, but our offer, our services, has to be more and more adapt to new technologies. We really need to contact our tourists through technologies and let them know what they are going to be experiences through digital channels. And last, and this is quite important, quality. I think Spain wants to, it has a huge challenge in increasing the quality and providing a better experience to all our tourists.
And what does that mean? Does that mean no more paper menus? Does it mean the end of the protests about Barcelona being too crowded with cruise ship passengers? All of those things are of a different age now. They seem a long time ago, don't they?
No, they don't need to disappear. I mean, what we need is to provide a different experience. I mean, we want cruisers in Barcelona, and we want people crossing and cruising through Magaluf and having fun, but in a different way. We want them to have an experience that gives them the chance to enjoy the city, to enjoy other parts of our offer, and especially what we want is to provide them with better quality, but again, that the tourism chain gives a value added to the whole Spain.
Thank you, Minister, for a terrific interview. And